Yo, what's up, guys? So, AC Milan have finally decided to spend more than 20 million euros on a player. Santiago Giménez is coming to Milan, guys, for 35 million euros from Feyenoord, guys, in a 4-year deal, making 2.2 million euros per season, guys, with Milan. Now, guys, obviously, first things first, it's about damn time this club spent some big money on a top young talent. Now, guys, obviously, Santiago Giménez has been playing in Feyenoord the last few years, and I'll be honest with you guys, I barely watch the Dutch League. I don't watch the Eredivisie very much, but I have seen Santiago Giménez in some games in the Champions League, of course, for Feyenoord, especially recently where he played against Bayern Munich. He scored a couple goals in that game. He looked really solid in that game, guys. But obviously, there's a bit of question marks. Obviously, Milan is spending a lot of money on this kid. It's 35 million euros, the biggest transfer fee under Redbird, of course, guys. And obviously, there's going to be some skeptics. Of course, he's coming, like I said, from the Dutch League, coming to City, probably the most tightly defensive league in the world. Of course, guys, it's a completely different league compared to the Dutch League, guys. Giménez is going to have to hit the ground running for his transfer to be a success, guys, because we obviously knew what happened this past season, the last 6 months with Alvaro Morata has not been good. Of course, obviously, I'm going to talk about him in a little bit later on in the video, of course. But Giménez, guys, he looks like a really good young player, 23 years old. You know, he's young. Obviously, he got a little bit of an injury, of course, against Lille in the last Champions League game. But I'm sure it's nothing to worry about, of course. But this guy here, guys, he has some really good quality. You know, he's good with the ball at his feet. He's good off the ball. He's a really good finisher. He's left foot dominated, it seems, guys. Left foot is his stronger foot, of course. And this year, guys, in the Eredivisie, he's had some pretty good numbers. Of course, in the Eredivisie, guys, in 11 matches, he has 7 goals and an assist. And in the Champions League this year, guys, he has 5 games and 5 goals. So those are pretty good numbers, guys. 16 games played, having 12 goals is really good numbers, I think, for Giménez, guys. Really solid numbers. Now, in the last couple years, he was at Feyenoord, guys. In 22 and 23, in 32 games played, he had 15 goals, 2 assists, and he had 3 yellow cards. In 23-24, he played 30 matches, and his numbers went up a lot. He went from 15 goals to 23 goals, and he had 6 assists on top of that, guys. So his numbers really improved. And then this year, he's played 11 games and 7 goals, like I mentioned, of course. So obviously, he has the goal-scoring touch, but the big question will be, how does he adjust to City? That will be the biggest question mark. How does he adjust to his new team and the tactics immediately? How quickly can he get that sorted out? Of course, obviously, he's going to have some quality players around him, like Leao and Pulisic grinders. So this guy here, guys, Giménez, I like the signing. Obviously, we don't know much about the kid. We know that he really wanted to come to Milan. And the fact is, guys, that we are playing Feyenoord in the Champions League, and I was extremely worried that Feyenoord would refuse to sell him to us, especially because we drew them in the Champions League. But luckily enough, Giménez's will to come to Milan immediately was probably the biggest factor in why he is coming now in January. Because obviously Milan had attempted to get him in the summer transfer window, but Feyenoord didn't want to sell him then. But now there was so much pressure from his agent and his people that they wanted him to move now, and he wanted to leave now, and it's absolutely massive for the club to get a number 9 in here that can score goals, maybe 20-plus goals. Absolutely huge for this club, guys, because obviously, like I mentioned before, Milan had some serious struggles with Alvaro Morata. Now, obviously, guys, Morata was the plan B option because Joshua Zirkzee was the first option. Milan were going to offer 40 million euros. They were actually going to pay the 40 million euro buyout clause to Bologna. He chose, obviously, to go to Manchester United, so Milan opted for buying Morata for 13 million euros, guys. And obviously, guys, when Milan first made the move to opt for Morata instead of Zirkzee, everyone thought it was a pretty decent move. You know, Spain had just won the European Championships. Morata came off a really good season at Atletico Madrid with 15 goals. Obviously, he was the captain of Spain. You know, the guy was a leader. He's won multiple trophies on multiple clubs. A lot of us thought it would work out. I thought it would work out too. You know, I thought maybe he could be a replacement similar to what Giroud did for us, guys. But unfortunately enough, guys, it was 6 disastrous months at Milan for Alvaro Morata. Guys, obviously we saw what happened with him in these 6 months. You know, Morata didn't get a lot of service. You know, he didn't score a lot of goals. You know, he had arguments with Conceição last week, during this week of the Champions League, of course. So there was a lot of things not going in Morata's direction. You know, he obviously separated from his wife, who he just got back with recently, of course. And then his numbers on the field, guys, were horrendous. Look, in 16 matches in City, guys, he only had 5 goals. It's not good enough. And then the 7 matches in the Champions League, guys, he had 1 goal. And then the Super Cup games, he had the 2 games, no goals at all, guys. So, unfortunately, Morata did not produce at the level we expected him to. And then, obviously, like I mentioned, guys, he got into an argument with Conceição because he got subbed out of the game against Zagreb at halftime. He was justified to sub him out. He did absolutely nothing. He was horrendous. You know, it was just, like I said, it wasn't a match made in heaven. He never caught fire with the team. It just didn't seem right for him to come to this club. You know, he doesn't get service, guys. You know, like I said, on top of that, I was very surprised with the attitude on top of that. So it just didn't work out. Now, luckily enough, we got Galatasaray to take him, guys, on an 18-month initial loan with an option to buy, I think, for 10 million euros. So Milan could get some money in the future, guys. But Morata going to Galatasaray on loan is good because, obviously, offloading him brought us Giménez, of course. And Morata, I'm pretty sure, was making a lot more money than Giménez, guys. So, obviously, they cut his wages in half. So, that's absolutely big for Milan, guys. You save some money. You get a player in here who's younger and probably could score more goals. So, it's a good bit of business by Milan. Obviously, like I said, Giménez has to score more goals than Morata, but there isn't a high mark to reach. Obviously, 5 goals in Serie A. That's not a big benchmark. So, if Giménez can come in and score right away, it'll be very quickly, we will forget about Morata, of course, guys. But unfortunately for Morata, it didn't work out here. I wish him nothing but the best in Galatasaray. He's a good player, good professional. But obviously, guys, like I said, it just didn't look good for him in these 6 months in the red and black colors. Now, obviously, guys, one more player has been sold today by Milan. And we all know who it is. It's a controversial guy, Davide Calabria, guys. Davide Calabria is finally leaving AC Milan after 18 seasons, guys. He will be moving to Bologna. Milan will be getting a 2 million compensation for him. Very good, guys, to finally get rid of this guy. Honestly, guys, look, I'm going to be honest here, okay? Davide Calabria came from the youth system, rolls all the way up to the first team. Beautiful story and everything else. I totally understand that. Listen, couple Super Cups, a Scudetto. He had some good times with this club, you know, some good memories, decent memories. But let's be bloody honest here, guys. This guy here was an absolute liability beyond belief. My God. The fact that this guy was at Milan in the first team for almost 10 years is absolutely staggering. Look, we could all agree, guys, that he was not the best player out there. Like, he had his deficiencies. Like I said, he had some good moments, especially in the Champions League when he shut down Kvara for a couple games in that quarterfinal leg of the Champions League a few years ago. But guys, my God, this guy here was absolutely horrendous at times. Gave us nothing on the right flank offensively. Defensively, he was brutal at times. You know, the fact that he wore the captain's armband just because he was a Primavera player absolutely made me sick. He was a mediocre player at best. And the fact that you have a mediocre player leading the team, saying he's the captain, when we all knew he was nowhere near ready to be the captain or deserved to be the captain of this team, guys. Like I said, he's a heart and soul guy, loved Milan, loved everything about the club. But like I said, guys, it was about damn time that we got rid of Davide Calabria. Listen, he has over 210 appearances with Milan in Serie A, guys. He has 9 goals, 17 assists. He had over 20 games played in the Champions League for Milan, guys. He had a good tenure with Milan, guys. But Milan is trying to obviously elevate their personnel. That's why they brought in a guy like Kyle Walker. Obviously, they didn't do that with Emerson Royal, of course, because that was a horrendous purchase. But Davide Calabria was just as bad. This was the right move by management not to renew his contract. The fact that he actually felt that he deserved a pay raise said all there needed to be said, guys. You know, he wanted 4 million euros a year. Absolutely outlandish to give that guy that kind of money. He was never productive for us. Didn't do enough for this team, guys, as a whole. Like I said, worked his ass off for the team, but unfortunately his best is not good enough to wear these colors anymore, guys. And I am extremely, extremely grateful that Davide Calabria is finally gone from AC Milan, guys. We do not have to worry about this right side being as much as a liability anymore. I know for a fact they're selling Royal in the summer. There is no way they are keeping him. I expect a massive upheaval in the summer, guys, in the summer transfer window. Now, obviously, one more thing regarding Calabria. We obviously knew what happened with him at Conceição last week. They had that big argument, and I even said it to you guys in my video when Milan played last time in Serie A, when Conceição and Calabria got to the argument. I said for a fact that he needed to be sold and sold because of what happened there. And look what happens, guys. A couple days before the window ends, he's out the door, guys. Listen, guys, Milan needs to back Conceição, okay? There's been a lot of reports going around about how some players don't like his rigid attitude. He's too harsh. Listen, this is our manager now. You got to get behind him, or they got to show these players the door. Enough of this soft man attitude mentality, okay? Guys like Calabria, felt he was entitled to certain things at this club. Honestly, the 5 years he was with Pioli treated him like a son, like gold. Started him every game, let him do what he wanted. You know, I heard a lot of reports about Calabria. He apparently leaked news to press, would leak lineups, you know, ask journalists for good PR. I've heard a bunch of stuff online. That is very staggering stuff. He should have been sold earlier if this is the truth. But that stuff with Conceição for me, guys, was the final straw, clearly for the manager as well, because he wanted him out. And I'm glad he does. This manager's no nonsense. He wants players that suit his style, and that's the type of coach I want. I want a coach who's assertive and wants certain players to fit his system. Pioli was just a playboy, was just a guy there that was just a yes man. You know, same with Fonseca, both yes men. They would just play by the rules, just let the management do what they wanted, and they would accept it. That is the biggest problem with guys like Pioli and Fonseca. Conceição's got a lot more grit to him. He'll say what's on his mind. He'll tell the management, I don't want this guy gone. I want this guy gone. And listen, they're showing it. Listen, getting rid of guys like Morata and Calabria is absolutely huge. I guarantee you, like I said, I bet you Royal's gone in the summer. I bet you Cheek's gone in the summer because of the concert nonsense. I wouldn't be shocked if guys like Musa are gone either. The team has to back Conceição, guys. He is their manager now. You have to back him now. Okay, you already sacked Fonseca, made yourselves look bad. All right, and Fonseca got another job already with Lyon, so you're already rid of yourselves of having to pay the guy the rest of the year. You have to show Conceição you back him. Get him the players he wants. And talking about one of the players that he wants, guys, is João Felix. Go get a guy like João Felix. They're negotiating right now with Chelsea. Chelsea does not want to give him up on an initial loan. They want to sell him permanently. But we could use a guy like João Felix, guys. You know, drop Reinders back in the double pivot with Fofana. Benison and Reinders can rotate in the midfield, guys. Then you can play João Felix in the attacking role with Pulisic, and him can rotate. Jaquazi on the right there. Multiple things, guys. I think João Felix would really help this team. And Sergio Conceição wants João Felix, and that's why the club are going after him, possibly on an initial loan, guys. So listen, the club got to do what they got to do to back the manager. And if certain players want to leave, they can leave. You know, obviously I've heard some reports about Teo and Pulisic not being too happy with his harsh attitude. Listen, they got to get over it, okay? Pulisic, he's in the best form of his career. No way in hell he's going to leave Milan now because he has a little bit of a disagreement with the manager. They got to get shit sorted out. Get this team right, guys. You got a new striker coming in. 35 million euros is a big sale, a big purchase, guys. So they're going to have to really have to get this guy comfortable. Hopefully the team backs Conceição. Get behind him now, guys, because it's obviously been a bit of a mess the last few weeks because with the Zagreb loss, it was absolutely horrendous. Now you got all this shit coming out on the press. Conceição acknowledged it in this press conference today, saying he doesn't like being lied about and all this stuff. So a lot of shit is going to come ahead, guys. Now, Giménez is coming into a situation where it's a little bit tense. So hopefully he can come in and solve some problems, guys. Get some damn goals. And hopefully this team, guys, can get back to winning ways because we all know what's coming up tomorrow, guys. The derby is absolutely massive tomorrow. 3 points on the line. Would be three straight wins in a row against Inter if we win tomorrow, guys. Obviously, I'm a little bit skeptical, of course. But let's see what happens tomorrow, guys. I'm expecting a good game tomorrow by Milan, especially after that horrendous loss to Zagreb midweek, guys. But guys, that's it for this video today. Thank you very much for watching. As always, guys, click like this video. Subscribe if you guys want to see more content. Forza Milan sempre, guys. Remember, if you do not watch sports, you're a mort. Ciao, guys.